Swami Chinmayananda. Balakrishna Menon, the future Swami Chinmayananda, was born on 8th May 1916 in Kerala, in the noble aristocratic family that strictly followed the ancient traditions. Balan, as he was fondly called, spent his early childhood receiving a lot of love and attention amongst a large extended family of cousins, uncles, and aunts. Saints and sages often visited the house. They too paid special attention to Balan, predicting that he will have a great future. He grew up as a charming, mischievous boy, adored by all. Brilliant and intelligent as a student, he loved reading, swimming, and badminton. He was very good at mimicking everyone with great wit and humor. Balan attended English Modern School, where he also learned Malayalam and Sanskrit. The whole family had a tradition of gathering together for daily satsang and evening puja. Swamiji used to recall, as I was sitting there in the puja room, waiting for the arati, which meant the end of satsang, I used to gaze at the pictures of gods right in front of me. The one I liked the most was Lord Shiva. To pass time, I developed my own private game. I used to look at Lord Shiva with Ganga flowing out from his matted hair, with the serpent for a headband, and the crescent moon lighting his smiling, compassionate eyes. Then I would shut my eyes to see whether I could see him in my own mind, then open the eyes again and compare the picture. I would do that again and again until I got it right to the smallest detail. In 1940, young Balan joined the Lucknow University, where he studied English literature and law. He was very active in the campus, appeared in several dramas in the theater, became a member of the literary club, debating club, and was on the university tennis team. But it wasn't all that he did. Sensitive to the life around him, in 1942, Balan joined the Indian independence movement. He was involved in writing and distributing leaflets against the British government, organizing public strikes and giving speeches. His rare leadership qualities made him visible in the movement, and he was soon caught and put in prison, wherein he spent several months under terrible conditions. In prison, he had plenty of time to reflect on his own life, as well as on life in general. He had seen lifeless bodies being carried out daily. The reality of death could not be ignored. Questions such as, what is the meaning of this life? Is there something more permanent? And if so, what is it? Occupied his mind. Weakened by stay for months in the jail, he fell ill with typhus fever. There was little hope for his recovery. Consequently, he was carried out into the night and tossed on the side of the road on the outskirts of the city. The Swamiji reports about the event, saying, "Luckily for me, a kindly Christian Indian lady took me into her home and cared for me like a son. Later, she told me that my nose reminded her of her son, who was with the army. It could be said that I was saved by the nose." As soon as Balan regained his health, he went on to graduate in law and English literature. In 1945, he moved to Delhi and joined the editorial staff of the National Herald, the then very popular national newspaper. His innate compassion for man was reflected in all his writings. But Balan soon discovered the emptiness of the so-called good life. Underneath the noisy parties, the expensive clothes and jewelry, and empty talks. He sensed dissatisfaction, agitation, and often despair. The old memories of his childhood, the joy of falling asleep with a mantra on his lips, and the loving, reassuring picture of Lord Shiva in the puja room, all came flooding back into his mind. He started chanting the mantra, Om Namo Shivaya, every night before going to sleep. It was at this crucial period that he came across the books of Swami Shivananda, Swami Vivekananda, Swami Ramtirtha, Sri Aurobindo, and Sri Ramana Maharshi, and began reading them all studiously. The writings of Swami Shivananda, who stressed, be good, do good, serve, love, purify, meditate, realize, and be free, had the most profound influence on Balan. But doubt still lingered in the mind of the self-acclaimed agnostic. Determined to find answers to them, the radical young journalist landed at the Himalayan ashram of Swami Shivananda in 1947. However, the very first meeting with Swami Shivananda blew away Balan's preconceived ideas about spirituality. The master's dignity, brilliant intellect, the special aura of divinity captured him. Furthermore, the ashram was not at all what he expected. It was a dynamic place where numerous spiritual and social projects were continuously going on. And yet in the midst of all, there prevailed peace and tranquility. Swami Shivananda, who recognized Balan's great spiritual potential, paid him special attention and teased him, saying, Bala, God gave you such an intelligence. Why don't you use it for him? You can join us and become a Swami. On the 25th of February 1949, on the auspicious day of the Maha Shivaratri, Swami Shivananda initiated Balan to the order of sannyas and gave him the name Swami Chinmayananda Saraswati, which meant the one who revels in the bliss of pure consciousness. Swamiji studied and worked in the ashram for some time. Swami Shivananda observed that the young Swami was drawn deeply only to Jnana Marga. He also said, I cannot sit in my room and meditate. I want to go to America and give talks. Swami Shivananda told him, you will thunder like Swami Vivekananda, but now you have little knowledge of Vedanta. I shall send you to a very good teacher. He guided him to Uttarkashi to study under the renowned Vedantic master Swami Topovan Maharaj. Swamiji spent 8 years studying the scriptures at the feet of Swami Topovan. It was not easy, for Swami Topovan was a great disciplinarian and a very demanding teacher. He never repeated his lesson twice. During this period, Swamiji lived in the cowshed with a stone for a pillow. However, Chinmayananda was an Uttama Adhikari, most qualified for knowledge. His burning inner urge for self-knowledge knew no obstacles. He was often seen sitting all night in meditation in a quiet forest or on the banks of the Ganges. After finishing study of the Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, and the Brahma Sutras, Swamiji prayed to his guru, I feel an immense urge to go down to the plains and share the wealth of the holy scriptures with my fellow countrymen. I want to run down like the Ganga, which nourishes and inspires with its refreshing water. Swami Topovan did not share the enthusiasm of his disciple, saying, people are not yet ready. They will not understand you. Instead, take a trip down to the plains, wandering around as a renunciate, living as a beggar among those you once knew. Swamiji did as instructed, and in November 1951, he returned to Tapovan Kutir in Uttarkashi after a complete tour of India. But he came back even more convinced that his mission in life was to take Vedanta to every nook and corner of Mother India. Once again, he pleaded with Swami Topovan for permission. This time, Swami Topovan acceded. All right, go and start your Jnana Yagna, but on one condition. You must have at least 4 people in the audience, including the speaker. Truly enough, the first Jnana Yagna started in Pune with exactly 4 people. Thus, Swami Chinmayananda came down from the Himalayas, bringing with him the wisdom of the Vedic rishis, and with it the revival of moral and spiritual values in the whole nation. His primary aim was to convert Hindus to Hinduism. Is it not a historical fact that for several centuries India, in particular Hindu tradition and culture, was oppressed and was almost at the verge of being ruined by waves of foreign invasions from the Mongol, the Mughal, the Muslim, culminating with the British culture and the Christian institutional domination? It was Swami Chinmayananda who plunged himself almost all alone in reviving the Hindu culture back to its hoary heights. One wandering Hindu monk at Varanasi said that what tens of stalwart Hindu religious leaders could not achieve in a joint way, Swamiji fulfilled triumphantly, single-handedly. It is true indeed. The young radical Swami was taking the secret knowledge of the Vedas to the streets by holding public lectures in English, the language of the foreigners. Swamiji traveled through the country urging that all national activities should be organized around higher spiritual ideals, proving that spirituality is not a hindrance to progress, but enriches life and gives it a new meaning.